Roth here of RotoGrinders, and today we're going to talk about the RG Discord. If you're not a member, you should be. It is a fantastic community and resource that RotoGrinders provides, and it's easy to join as well. All you have to do is click the Discord icon on RotoGrinders or go to rotogrinders.com/Discord. From there, you'll either sign up if you're new to RG, or if you're already a member, just click the link at the top to go to the sign-in page. Once you've logged into your RG account, you can be taken to Discord to log in there. Once you've connected those accounts, you won't have to leave the server. You can freely close out and reopen Discord without ever having to reconnect. The idea of Discord might be a little bit daunting to you, but it's actually pretty simple to navigate. Whether you're on mobile or desktop, the far left side will show you the Discord servers that you've already joined. Then next to that, you'll see the channels within that Discord. We have both free channels like Chiefs Prop Shop and our daily sport channels. And we also have premium channels like Blender's Game Theory or the Crunch Time channels. Premium members can see the difference between the free and premium channels by looking for a padlock icon next to the premium channel names. We also have a few pointers for new and experienced users alike. If you're having trouble finding a channel, make sure that you haven't collapsed the section that the channel is in. Collapsing a channel will only allow it to appear when there are unread messages in that channel. Also, we find that using the actual Discord program works better than opening it in a browser like Safari or Chrome. Lastly, if you're having trouble with one of our tools, your RotoGrinders account, or any other technical needs, you can hop in our feedback and help section of channels to get help from one of our wonderful support and moderation team members. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out on Twitter @RotoGrinders or email support@rotogrinders.com. See you in Discord.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Crunch Time here on RotoGrinders. Happy to have you joining us on a Sunday afternoon. I am Justin Van Zuden, aka STL Cardinals 84. We'll be hosting the show as usual here for you on Sunday. I've got two wonderful co-hosts alongside me as well. Keith Eister on one side. Keith, how's it going? How'd the fights treat you last night?
Good. It was a pretty good overall card. Had a profitable event, hit a couple underdogs, and things worked out. I didn't get anything super high up there, but anytime you're making money, it's a good day. So
that's right. Can't complain about a profit for sure. I'm glad that went well for you, and we'll see if we can parlay that into some MLB Sunday success here. We've got TJ Zwarich alongside as well. TJ, how are you doing this morning?
Doing pretty well. Andre had some internet issues today, so we're stepping in, and Keith, you worded it well. I was just complaining off air that I was a Marcell Ozuna switched from Michael Harris at the last second away from winning 25K. And so it was just a small profitable day instead of a big one, but it's still a profitable day. We got more bullets for to nail down because of that. So can't complain, doing well, ready to talk about today's baseball slate.
Yeah, sounds good. This should be a fun slate here today. We've got 8 games on the Fanduel slate. Of course, Fanduel, great sponsor of the show. So check them out. Fanduel Sportsbook. If you're in a legal sports betting state, plenty of good promos there for new users. So check out the Fanduel Sportsbook. And of course, Daily Fantasy. Smaller slate than usual on a Sunday with a lot of later afternoon games today, but still plenty of talking points. And, you know, it's a little thin out there at pitcher today. So, Keith, I'll let you start us off. And what are you looking at with the arms today?
Yeah, it's a little bit thin, but I think there's some pretty good spots, too. I will probably have a pretty tight pool today. You've got Alcantara, who's been outstanding this year, but he's got a little bit of a tough matchup against the Mets. Not a big strikeout team. But you do have Eric Lauer right below him. I think that's the first guy I would look to. He's got a phenomenal matchup with Pittsburgh, who has struck out a ton this year. They've got a couple of lefties in that lineup. Lauer's got a massive strikeout rate to lefties. So I think it's worth spending up on Lauer. The other guy I really like today is Nick Lodolo, going up against a Tampa Bay team that just lost Wander Franco again, unfortunately. And the rest of this lineup that they're rolling out there is not very good. The entire lineup combined has an ISO of like 104 against left-handed pitching, and they're striking out around 25%. So really like this matchup for Lodolo. Very talented prospect. Only a handful of major league starts, but he has flashed some big K upside. He had great control in the minors. It's struggled a little bit in his first couple of major league starts, but I don't foresee that being an issue for him as he gets a little bit more experience. So I really like this spot for Lodolo. Not a great park to pitch in, but Tampa Bay missing Franco and this lineup they're rolling out here against the lefty. Really like the price tag on Lodolo too. You've got Baz on the other side of that game, another really talented prospect. Don't mind him. There's some strikeout upside there, certainly. And then Kopech has a matchup with Detroit, who has been one of the worst offenses in baseball as well. So not a bunch of household names, if you will, but some guys in really good spots. Oh, and I didn't mean to skip over Taijuan Walker. He's a little bit pricey on FanDuel, like the price on DK a good amount, but he's been pretty good here recently, and he's got a matchup with Miami. So that's my pool today. I think all of them are in pretty good spots. If I had to pick two, I'd be going Lauer and Lodolo.
Yeah, I like those calls. I'll throw my thoughts in after TJ. TJ, I'll let you take your thoughts on the pitchers here.
I feel very, very similar to Keith today. Lodolo and Lauer are going to be my top two. Even I'm only playing one lineup, but even if I was playing 150 today on FanDuel, my player pool would be Alcantara, Lauer, Walker, Baz, Kopech, and Lodolo. That's it. And looking at the ownership, our two highest, so it's an interesting pitching slate because we have no safe pitchers. We have a whole bunch of high upside pitchers, but we have no safe pitchers. And so that's why when I see the two highest projected owned pitchers on the slate are going to be Eric Lauer and Taijuan Walker. To me, that just Taijuan Walker and Michael Kopech. To me, that just screams get different in tournaments because it's Taijuan Walker and Michael Kopech. Yeah, they're in good spots, but it's Taijuan Walker and Michael Kopech. So I think we can definitely get different in tournaments, but I don't think we have to get too different. Lodolo and Lauer are my two favorite options. Baz would be in the pool. Alcantara would be in the pool. And yeah, I think that's kind of our route for pitching today.
Yeah, the DFS community really seems to like Kopech, and I'm not really sure why. I mean, yeah, he's got a live arm, but he still doesn't get a ton of Ks, and he walks too many guys, and he can rack up like 60 pitches in 3 innings, and he's like the chalkiest pitcher. I have like zero interest in a 30% owned Kopech in tournaments. Like, I get it if you want to play him in cash games for the block, so to speak, but we've got Kopech at 41% on DraftKings. Like, the guy has not topped 25 DK points or 25 FanDuel points in his last 5 starts, and he hasn't topped 14 DK points in those 5 starts. So he's had one really good outing in the last month and a half, and I don't know. Like you said, playing the chalkiest guy in tournaments just doesn't feel like the play today. So I'm out on Kopech. I'm fine with the others. Walker, I think, is probably the safest, so to speak. Lauer, Lodolo, probably your upside options. Alcantara, maybe if you want to, spend up to be different, but his advanced metrics aren't quite as strong as some of the others, particularly for his price. So, I think you could throw Baz into the GPP mix too, as you guys mentioned. That'll be a fun matchup with him and Lodolo. But I was really looking forward to Lodolo being lower owned at the beginning of the day. And then when you see that Tampa lineup, he's become a little more chalky. But 8 Ks and 4 2/3 against the Mets in his last start, got up to 90 pitches. So even though he was out for a while, shouldn't really be any restrictions for Lodolo in terms of his pitch count today. So Keith, any other thoughts on pitching for you? Otherwise, you can maybe start to talk about your favorite stacks.
I don't really have anything else to add. Plesac doesn't have enough strikeout upside. Ian Anderson has had a really rough season. Quintana's been decent, but he's fallen off a little bit here recently. So, I mean, if somebody liked one of those guys, I wouldn't tell them you can't play them. Like, they're fine. That they just don't have the upside of the guys that we talked about already. So I think we covered the pool.
Couple things I want to add quick.
Yep, go ahead.
183 people watching. We're nice on the weekend, so 50 likes for the first Spidey bomb, and we'll go 75 for the second one. We'll do a little 2-for-1 special today. The chat is talking a lot about getting off, like Lodolo feels like bad chalk, and I do totally get that. Maybe there's some pitch count concerns. However, like Kopech to me seems like the bad chalk out of the two of them today. Kopech's picking up a little bit more ownership. Lodolo's cheaper, has a higher strikeout rate. I'm like, Kopech has been good to lefties this year in terms of striking them out for sure. But the lefties in the lineup today for Detroit are Riley Green striking out 17% of the time, Castro 19% of the time. Grossman's a big strikeout guy. But then the only other one in the lineup is Victor Reyes at 18%. So the lefties are low strikeout guys. And Kopech's only been striking out 19% of right-handed batters so far in his career. So, like, to me, that's the guy that feels like the bad chalk out of the two of them. And I do think the reason why people like that Kopech cards is I think a lot of people in the DFS community, especially baseball DFS community, play MLB The Show like I do. And Kopech is just absolutely money. They give him one of those prospect cards and he just like throws the ball 101 miles per hour. And so I think that's the reason why people have a little bit of a soft spot for Kopech today. And shout out the viewers, because we already got over 50 likes. We're close. We already got the first Spidey bomb. We're close to the second one already. And so the very first Spidey bomb of the day today is going to be, let's do it. Let's stick with the gut. The gut has been hot lately, and we're going to go with Josh Naylor is going to hit a home run today.
All right, there's the first call. Nice job, everybody, hitting that thumbs up, the like button. We appreciate that very much. And all right, so let's talk some stacks. Keith, what are you thinking for offense today?
Yeah, going right back to the Braves. Nice big team total there, over 6. Matchup against Paulo Espino, fly ball pitcher that I just don't think he's very good. Attacked him last time he started, despite having some pretty good surface numbers. The underlying stuff looked pretty bad, and it worked out. So I will be targeting the Braves pretty heavily here. The White Sox are in a great spot against Drew Hutchinson, just a really bad starting pitcher. I like the Cardinals a good amount as well against the Phillies. I like the other side of that game, Philly against Palante. Palante has shown some ground ball ability, but not much strikeout ability. So the Phillies line up pretty well against him. The Guardians, sounds like TJ is going to be on some Guardians for sure. Zach Greinke just doesn't have it anymore. No strikeout stuff. Like them a good amount. And then the Brewers is another team that I like against Quintana. I mentioned Quintana's been decent this year, but he has fallen off a little bit here recently. And I like some bats there for the Brewers.
Yeah, the Cardinals make a habit of going out and getting old, washed-up starting pitchers at the trade deadline, and they got Lester and Happ last year. I can already see Quintana in a Cardinals uniform in July at the end of the month here or August. It's just
makes a lot of sense.
It's probably going to happen. They're going to go get somebody. Who knows? But Quintana's the guy.
Quintana allow them to get more than 0 runs in a 3-game span?
Their offense, 1 run for the Cardinals in their last 44 regulation innings. Don't count the 2 runs they got in the 10th and the 11th the other night. Those were just the free runners that scored. Otherwise, 1 run in 44 innings. It's been dreadful. And if they can't score on the Phillies bullpen today, this is actually a 4-game series that goes to tomorrow, and they have to face Nola tomorrow. So hopefully they get some runs today. But yeah, it's been a tough week for my Redbirds. So hopefully they figure it out today. But TJ, who you like for stacks?
Yeah, so Atlanta is pretty obviously the top stack on the board. They're going to pick up a ton of ownership. And I really do think the best way to get different today would be sacrificing your Atlanta stack and playing somebody like Alcantara up top at pitcher today. If we see these cheap pitchers failing and Atlanta only puts up 5 runs, that could be the way to the top of a tournament today. The other stacks outside of Atlanta, like Atlanta's kind of in a tier of their own today, but the next 2 for me would be Cleveland and the White Sox. Those would be my next 2 favorite stacks. I like Minnesota as well, but I like them more as a Minnesota and Texas are the 2 teams I like quite a bit, but more as mini stacks than full stacks. I'd rather mix in guys like Corey Seager, Max Kepler, Byron Buxton as one-offs, maybe 2 3-man stacks, as opposed to going the full stack. So Atlanta's tier 1, Cleveland and the White Sox are tier 2 for me, and then Minnesota and Texas are going to be tier 3, as well as Tampa if you maybe want to take a shot there, just because Lodolo could get wild. But I'm going to be on the Lodolo side today.
All right, I will keep it with you. We got 20 minutes to lock here. We'll get your questions primarily from the RotoGrinders Discord. If you're a premium subscriber, we will prioritize those. RotoGrinders.com/Discord. We are in the MLB Crunch Time channel. So we'll take your questions there. We got 20 minutes till lock. We'll go through position by position here quick, and then we will get to your questions. So TJ, I'll stick with you and we can talk about catcher.
For sure. Another team I kind of forgot to mention in tournaments I don't mind taking a shot on is the Nats. Again, more of mini stack territory than full stack, but like Juan Soto, they have Garcia leading off, and I think Soto is one of the very top plays on the slate. Now, at catcher today, William Contreras is probably going to be my top option. Anytime he's in the lineup, I like getting to him. He walks. He's got an absolute ton of power. He's probably my top guy. I think you can go to somebody like JT Realmuto, but it's not a great position today. Not that it really ever is. And so like the only one-offs I think I'd really look at would be somebody like Melendez, Realmuto, or Contreras. Other than that, I'd probably just try and complete my stack here.
Yeah, not an elite position. You're probably not playing one on FanDuel today. Just doesn't seem necessary on DraftKings. Those are some of the top options. Contreras probably my favorite as well, though he is hitting 7th today. That Atlanta team total just sticks out there at just over 6 runs. So Keith, what do you like at catcher?
Yeah, agree with Contreras as the top option. I do really like Melendez as a tournament pivot. Keibert Ruiz also hitting 5th today for the Nats. TJ mentioned liking that stack. Ian Anderson just has not been himself this year, so don't mind him. But yeah, it's pretty much filling out a stack after that. Like Reese McGuire's fine in a White Sox stack. Tyler Stevenson is back, which is interesting for the Reds. Good ballpark. I think Baz is a really good pitcher, so I don't love the Red stack. But I don't mind Stevenson as a catcher with some pop.
All right, I'll stick with you, and we can move to first.
All right, we've got Matt Olson is going to be the Brave here at the position. Still just a little bit underpriced. It has come up a bit, but great matchup for him here against Espino. I like Andrew Vaughn up in the 2-hole for the White Sox. The Jose Abreu also for the White Sox. Juan Yepez in that Cardinals lineup hitting 3rd today with no Goldschmidt. The Royals are a team we didn't really talk about, but I do like some picking on Plesac a little bit. Hunter Dozier is a cheap option if you want to go down there, and Josh Bell in a national stack.
I think the Nationals are fairly interesting as an offense. Obviously, their lineup leaves a little bit to be desired outside of a couple guys, but Ian Anderson's been pretty bad this year, so don't mind some Washington exposure myself. I know you guys mentioned them too when we talked about stacks. So TJ, your thoughts at first base?
Yeah, so 10 likes away from Spidey Bomb number 2. Top option at first base is going to be Matt Olson by far. After that, Josh Naylor, Spidey Bomb number 1 is a guy that I really like. Gavin Sheets batting 5th today for the White Sox to me is incredibly interesting. I always like playing Sheets, and he's usually batting 7, 8. And the fact that we got him here in the 5-hole today, I like quite a bit. Pete Alonso, nobody ever plays. You're going to get him at 0% owned against the best pitcher on the slate. I think that's somewhat interesting. But other than that, I'm mostly sticking with the top guys.
All right. We can go ahead and move along to second then. Who are you looking at there? We
Yeah,
were talking
so
before the show just
gross,
how bad this position is.
gross position today. So I'm probably just going to try and fill out a stack. My top player would be Marcus Semi, and after that, maybe Jorge Polanco. Jonathan India is leading off at 2,400. Nolan Gorman, 27 on FanDuel, batting second. But it really is just an ugly position. I think you're just filling out your stack here.
I do like Gorman today. Again, although the Cardinals have struggled to score, it's a bullpen game for the Phillies today, and their bullpen is really bad. So hopefully today's the day. Gorman's got tons of pop. And with second base being a pretty thin position, like he is one of the guys that could theoretically give you some upside. And if you get one big time performance at second base, that could be a really big difference maker on this slate. So India, as you mentioned, pretty cheap as well, tougher matchup, but those two guys are definitely a position where you can afford to save some salary for sure. Nobody you need to spend up for here. So Keith, your thoughts at second?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Gorman and India are my two favorites. This is a position I don't want to stack the Rays against Lodolo, but Paredes is the one guy who has showed some pop against lefties this year. So I don't mind Paredes. Walls is also cheap in the middle of that Rays lineup. Keston Hira, don't mind him as a one-off. Mentioned like in the Brewers stack a little bit too, but he's cheap. And Tommy Edmonds' price has come down quite a bit, so I don't mind him.
All right, I'll stick with you. We can move to third. I see a lot of questions coming into the Discord here, so have no fear. We'll get to those in about 4 or 5 minutes here. So go ahead, third base.
All right, Austin Riley, I think, is the option up top. If you need to save a little bit of money, Yohan Moncada for the White Sox is really cheap. Jose Ramirez against Greinke is phenomenal. I don't mind Arenado in a Cardinal stack or as a one-off. Nolan Jones, the Guardians rookie, still around minimum price, hitting in that 6 hole today, so really like him. And then Yandy Diaz is another one of those Rays one-offs, but again, I don't really love the Rays stack, but if you want to use a couple of them and try to hunt a home run in that ballpark, I'm fine with that. All
right, TJ, your thoughts at third?
Yeah, so at third base today, Austin Riley, Jose Ramirez, and Yohan Moncada leading off today are definitely my top options. Interestingly enough, Nolan Jones would probably be number 4. Keith and I are very much on the same page today. I really like Bobby Witt Jr. as a one-off, Isaac Paredes as a one-off, and that's basically it for me today.
All right, can roll it to shortstop.
Dansby Swanson, by far the top option. Corey Seager is going to be number 2 for me. Again, Bobby Witt Jr. as a potential one-off. Javi Baez as a one-off. I like quite a bit today. He's one of my favorite one-offs on the slate. You got Josh Smith leading off. If you need to save salary on FanDuel, I believe he's third base on DK, but that's going to be it for me. If you want to play Kevin Newman leading off, if you want to play Taylor Walls on his birthday, batting third to save some salary against Lodolo, sure. Joey Wendell's leading off, but like I'd much rather play these guys up top.
Yeah, I think it's a spend up position with the opportunity cost. I'd rather save it second, and you can play Walls at second on FanDuel. So Keith, your thoughts on shortstop, and then I will just let you go straight through your outfielders as well.
Yeah, I like the spend ups here as well. It's Swanson, it's Witt. Willie Adames is a guy who feels overpriced, but I really like this matchup for him. He's hitting in the 2 hole there for Milwaukee. He's shown some pop, so I do like Adames as well. Yeah, that about covers it. Walls is fine if you need to save some money, but like you agree, better play at second base. Yeah, I think that about covers it.
All right, take us through your outfield.
All right, over to the outfield. Acuna is going to be massive chalk as the top play on the slate. Just facing Espino, who isn't going to strike anybody out. Like Luis Robert, a good amount as well. Hitting third there for the White Sox. 2 of my favorite cheapies also for the White Sox, Eloy Jimenez and Franmil Reyes for the Guardians. He's been on a tear since he's come back from his injury. Andrew Vaughn, another White Sox I like. Stephen Kwan has a nice price tag leading off there for Cleveland. Harold Ramirez, another one of those cheap Tampa bats. Again, don't really love that stack, but there are some usable pieces. Juan Soto against Ian Anderson is a great spot for him. Can always play Kyle Schwarber. That price tag should keep his ownership down. But a guy with massive power, as we have seen, like his teammate Castellanos as well, who, because he struggled this season, I think that price tag is a little bit low for his talent level. So I do like Castellanos a good amount, and Nelson Cruz, another guy with a pretty fair price tag. So I'll have some Nelson Cruz.
All right, TJ, go ahead and take us through your outfielders, and then we will go through the questions. We've got a lot of them here. So
5 away from a Spidey bomb, so hit that like button so we can give you the second one. Acuna and Soto, the top options up top. Acuna is number 1 by far for me, but Soto is definitely 2. My favorite mid-tier options are going to be Marcel Ozuna as well as Luis Robert. In tournaments, I think Schwarber and Buxton are great options to get different. They can match Acuna and Soto's upside, and they're not going to be played near as much. And then if you need to go cheap, my 2 favorites are Max Kepler as well as Franmil Reyes. I don't mind the Nick Castellanos call. There are some cheapies like Gavin Sheets and Tyler Naquin that you could go to. Nelson Cruz is a good potential option, but my favorites are going to be those ones that I mentioned at the beginning.
all right, yeah, a nice position where you can get some values. I've got the screen share sorted by point per dollar. So Quan, Sheets, Dozier, Yepes, Kepler, Castellanos grades out well on a point per dollar basis, and kind of mix and match those guys with your favorite high end options. So, all right, we've got plenty of questions here in the Discord, so I will roll these back and forth with you. Keith, any interest in Quintana against the Brewers? I think you briefly mentioned him when we went through pitching.
I'm not playing Quintana. I'm more on the Brewers side of that. I mentioned Adames being one of my favorite bats. His surface numbers look pretty good. I don't think the strikeout upside is there. I prefer a lot of other options, but he's fine
so
if you want to do it. We
kind of settled on Lauer. Keith kind of settled on Lauer and Lodolo as his favorites. Walker, I think, is pretty safe. Kopech is going to be pretty chalky and a little bit nerve wracking with him in GPPs, but you want to take a shot on a really low owned guy. I think Baz over Quintana would be the play. So,
Agreed.
All right. Raymond asks at second base, TJ, DK GPP, Edman or Paredes?
Paredes. By a lot.
All right. Keith, Sherman's Tanks wants to know FanDuel cash, Soto and Quan, or Robert and Castellanos?
Both are really good. I think I'd do the first one for cash.
I would too. Let's see. Thoughts on a Detroit stack in large field GPPs? Not necessarily as leverage, but just if Kopech continues his control issues. So that one is definitely contrarian. TJ, any interest in Detroit with some potential against Kopech?
Not so much against the full stack, but I do think it's interesting if you wanted to say go Lauer, Alcantara on DraftKings, 2 likes away from the Spidey bomb, and I trust that people are going to hit it. And on this note, Javi Baez is Spidey bomb number 2 today against Kopech.
Weaved that in there perfectly well. All right. D-Dot asks FanDuel single entry, Lauer and Vaughn or Lodolo and Buxton, Keith?
Give me Lauer and Vaughn.
A couple interesting combos there.
Yep.
Let's see. Achilles wants to know Gorman or Edman on DraftKings. If you want upside, I think Gorman is definitely your play. If you're looking for safety, Edman probably a little safer, though he, like the rest of the offense, has been struggling of late. So I do prefer Gorman today. All right. Amateur Hour asks, TJ, DKGPP, would you go Baz Lodolo with an Atlanta stack or Lauer Lodolo with a White Sox stack?
I like the Baz Lodolo with the Atlanta stack. Atlanta's the top offense on the board, but they'll be chalky. And so by putting Baz in there, you're getting quite different. I like that a lot.
All right. Stevo, Keith gets the lucky question. If you're building a Tiger stack, Miggy or Torkelson? Let's go.
I mean, I think you have to go Torkelson there. There's just He's been really bad, but there's more power there for sure. I'd lean Torkelson.
Dylan
All right.
Carlson just got scratched.
Well, that's wonderful. It really increases our odds of scoring some runs today. I don't even want to look
New
at
cards lineup: Edmund, Gorman, Yepez, Arenado, Dickerson, Pujols, Newt, Bar, Sosa, Roman.
Yeah,
Really
buddy.
falls off in the back half.
We're not much better than the Tigers right now. They can have Romine back. All right. Carolina guy, FanDuel favorite stack and contrarian stack. So we kind of went through. Atlanta is the top offense for sure. From there, everything else is going to be a little bit lower owned. Maybe the Cardinals may be a little less interesting now, but Philly, Milwaukee, and probably the White Sox are probably your next options. For a contrarian stack against Greinke, who doesn't strike anybody out. I think Cleveland is pretty interesting. We were all kind of in agreement on that as well, if you're looking for something a little different. All right, NBA DFS asks, let's see, Keith. No, I gave you the last one. TJ, Quan and Kepler or Sheets and Castellanos in cash?
Quan and Kepler.
All right, Keith, BHB, DK Cash, Swanson and Green or Witt and Robert?
I'll go the second one there. I like Swanson better than Witt, but I think getting Robert is a better option.
I agree. All right, let's see. DKGPP, TJ, Baz and Ruiz or Lodolo and Contreras?
Baz and Ruiz or Lodolo and Contreras. Lodolo and Contreras.
Achilles, FanDuel Cash, Keith, Seager and Ozuna or Witt and Buxton?
Give me Witt and Buxton there.
Right. Any love for a red stack in a FanDuel GPP, TJ?
No.
I'm not on them today either. Achilles, another one. FanDuel Cash, Keith, J Ram and Seager or Swanson and Buxton?
Man, all these are really good. Yeah. Boy, that's really tough. Give me the second one.
All right. DK GPP, if using Walker, Lauer, or Alcantara as a safe play, would you pair one of them with a high upside or high risk GPP pitcher? I don't have a problem going with high risk guys especially as your SP2s today. Even though Lodolo will be somewhat chalky, I don't think you need to go double stud with Lauer, Alcantara or something like that. So that just uses a little too much of your salary today. So fine with using a higher upside option as your SP2.
Unless you're stacking Detroit.
Stack Detroit. I've tried that several times this year. I don't think it's worked yet. I'll give it a rest for a while. All right, Mark Flores, TJ, DK GPP. He's got a Cleveland and Atlanta stack. So do you prefer Olsen and Naylor or J Ram? Let's see. Oh, okay. I'm struggling, Mark. I think you worded that wrong. It says Olsen or Naylor and J Ram or Riley. I guess one of Olsen and Naylor and one of J Ram and Riley is my guess.
Olsen and J Ram is the routes I went, and that makes me feel like he may have the same lineup as me. So maybe you want to switch it up so we're not duped.
Yeah, that was the question. Obviously, DK, you don't have the flex, so you can't play both third basemen. So, all right. Just took me a second there to read through that one. Jay Sams, FanDuel, large field, Lauer or Lodolo, Keith.
And two of my favorite pitchers. I like the savings that you get with Lodolo. And I mentioned
Josh Naylor scratch. Josh Naylor scratch.
Oh,
Josh
boy.
Naylor scratch.
What is this, an NBA slate?
Yeah, seriously.
The only game that starts now, thankfully,
scratched it.
the only game that starts now is the Washington Atlanta game. So if you have Naylor, if you have Dylan Carlson, you've still got some time to switch them out. Those games don't start till 2:10. So
Good point.
Washington Atlanta is the only game locking right now. Just make sure you have who you want or don't have who you don't want in that game. If you got Ian Anderson in your placeholder, make sure you get him out. All right. Is playing Lodolo and Baz too risky in a DK GPP if you're playing them together, TJ?
Wadolo and Baz, DKGPP. No, I like that combo.
All right. Favorite single entry stack, Keith. One entry. Who you got?
Atlanta is pretty clearly the top stack today. I know it's chalky, but find a way to differentiate. I like the Baz call it pitcher to differentiate, or play the bottom of Atlanta would be totally fine as well. But I think Atlanta would be where I'd start.
All right. And that takes us through the Discord questions, and we're right at lock. So perfect timing. Lots of questions today. Good ones, everybody. And again, Dylan Carlson scratched. Josh Naylor scratched in the last couple of minutes. Getting those summer NBA vibes rolling. So make sure you've still got time to get those two guys out of your lineups if you have them in there. Spidey bombs today, Javi Baez and Justin forgot the first one.
Reyes, because Josh Naylor was the first one and he happened to be scratched. So we will sub it in for Franmil Reyes. He'll hit one instead.
Superhero couldn't figure out that he was going to get scratched or what?
I mean, yesterday it was Wander Franco and Reyes, and Franco got hurt on his first at bat and now he's on the IL. So the Spidey bomb has been hot unless they get hurt.
You got to figure that. Got to fine tune that part of it a little bit. You got to predict those injuries. Come on. It's all your fault. Spidey's fault. Can't be playing those injured guys. But all right. Who was the sub for Naylor?
Franmil Reyes.
All right. I like Franmil Reyes today. He's not been good, obviously, but did have a couple hits yesterday.
He's been wildly good lately. Ever since July has hit, he has had 1, 2, 3, 4 home runs so far in July. 7, 9, 10 RBIs so far. He's been doing well.
All right, with that, probably time for us to get on out of here. Keith, any final thoughts?
Nope, I think we covered it well.
All right, with that, we'll call it a show. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thanks to Keith and TJ for hosting along with me. I'm Justin. Thanks to our producer, Eli, as well, for working hard for us behind the scenes. And enjoy the rest of your Sunday, everybody. We will be back tomorrow with our usual weekday content schedule. So until then, have a great Sunday, everybody, and we will catch you later.